little badass, book badass. You little badass, you little badass, book club badass. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to Babs.
Hey guys.
Hey badasses. Happy summer. Are we in summer?
We're in
It feels like summer.
We're technically not in summer until next week.
For real?
I'm pretty sure summer starts around the 21st or 22nd of June, you know,
Whoa.
the whatever equinox. I'm not going to
Let's not
try to
science.
know what I'm talking about, but I do know it's the 21st or the 22nd.
Cool.
Yeah. At least here in the United States. Because Australia is mentioned in one of our books.
I take it back. Not happy summer to you guys yet.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Happy
hold it.
winter down
Happy-
under.
Speaking of
That's
which-
what made me think of it.
Oh my gosh. I'm holding up the Midnight Library. If you know, you know. If you read, you know.
If
Is
you
that,
listen,
is that
you
a,
know.
Is that a hashtag yet?
If you read, you know.
IYR.
I like it.
You read.
Okay.
YK.
YK.
Perfect. I love it. Okay, welcome. We are starting now.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so here we are. Let's get organized.
where
Let's
are
talk
we?
books.
Or let's talk about Dolly Parton.
Okay, let's talk about Dolly Parton
I
because
just feel the world needs more Dolly.
it does. And I had posed this very philosophical question to Katie earlier, wondering
Yeah.
where does Dolly come up with all these quotes? Like, are these quotes that she sort of just like snaked from somebody? Did her grandpappy give them and pass them on? Or is she just that quick with it?
Okay, I think it is a part of her being. I think she's an angel on earth that, you know, some people say storks are involved in babies. Some people say people are involved in making babies. I think she came down off of a rainbow.
So these quotes are divine in her intervention.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Obviously.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah, if a rainbow made anybody, it's Dolly.
Okay.
So
That's true.
that's true. Bunch of sunshine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like your shirt.
That's my answer. I
Okay.
love Dolly Parton. I'm wearing
if
a
you're
shirt
not
that
watching,
says-
Katie is wearing a Dolly shirt
Hey,
and
my eyes are up
drinking
here.
from a Dolly mug. It's
am
all
I?
Dolly all the time.
I love you, Dolly.
9 to 5.
Oh my gosh, I'm sharing this. We're going to share this with her. Dolly Parton, I love you.
Yeah, I'll be tagging.
I'm sure there's a lot of people that love you, but I just want you to know I love you.
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. Amazing musician. Amazing.
Vocally amazing.
A national treasure.
Songwriter extraordinaire.
Everything. Poet.
Badass. Let's
The
not
end.
forget that.
Period.
Okay.
Period. Moving on. We read 2 amazing books. No, wait. We're back to
as a
3.
we are back to 3.
Okay.
Yeah. So together, just like intro wise, together we are reading The Midnight Library by
Bye.
Matt Haig.
Mhm.
I am tackling The Shards by Bret Easton Ellis.
Okay. And you said he's the author of American Psycho.
He is.
So I can't wait to hear. I just can't wait to hear. But I also have to share with you, full transparency, I want to giggle every time because I think of Shart every time you say the Shards.
Oh yeah, I got past that sort of.
Yeah,
But
okay.
It's
relevant?
it's in my head.
It's
It's
in your
not
head.
relevant.
Okay,
It's not in the story. I mean, he hasn't broached the subject, but it's in my head. Yes.
I can't help it. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Easton. Wait, what's his last name?
Easton Ellis. Bret
Okay.
Easton Ellis.
Bret.
He's a 3-namer. Bret.
Okay. Is he a murderer?
I don't think so.
He murders his pen
He
with his
murders
pen.
the shit out of the pen. I'm sorry, explicit content.
Oh my
but
God,
yeah,
I love
this
it.
guy, we're going explicit today with this one.
I mean, 3.
um,
I think we've got 3 badasses lined up.
Okay, yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
But this guy.
This guy, I don't even know where to start. Should I just start?
Well, let me say I'm also reading Freida McFadden. Sorry. I don't know what's wrong with my mouth today. Freida McFadden, Ward D, also a badass. Okay, so we'll get to these 2, but yes, go on. Let's go. I'm ready.
Okay, you guys, this book is really good. I think because he's a really good writer, I will be learning more about him. But so far, Bret Easton Ellis, he has definitely done screenplays, and I believe he might even have produced, but don't quote me on that one. But he's a writer for sure.
Does it make a difference knowing, like, I just have to bring this up because we've read a few people who've made it to screen, who have histories that, I don't know, I feel like we've shared information about authors that make us go, aha. But do you have to know something, or does it take away from the book?
To me, it just adds.
Okay.
And it's part of the book. So this book is autofiction. It is, I'm going to lay it all out there and I'll let you know where I'm up to and everything. But in the book, it's part of the book, what his passion, trade, job, occupation, experiences, all of these things. So you will know, if you didn't know about him, what he's all about.
Cool. What's he all about, Ashley?
He's all about writing about dark. And I mean, he might have written about other stuff too. Again, it does make me want to learn more about him. However, I'm staying off the Googles because I don't want to accidentally find something out.
Yeah. Totally get it.
Yeah. So, but I'm intrigued and I do want to learn more. I went on a wild ride. I
love a good ride.
I've read about 100 pages and I want to be a little more precise about exactly where I stopped so that if anybody is along with me, we won't have any confusion.
I love that we're kind of taking bites now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like the books that we're reading also, so much is going on that it allows you to tell me more about a section. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And this, I think, is one of those books. I might even split up. I mean, we'll get there, but I might even split it up into 2 more reads. So we'll see.
Cool.
But right now, I'm through chapter 4, which is about at page 100.
Long chapters.
Yeah. So I've been on a journey. Even though I've only read 100 pages, I have listened to different iterations. Let me just say where I've been here. So Bret, initially, when he released this, it was actually as a podcast. So he wrote whatever, and then he read it as a podcast through a series, and then he officially wrote and published the novel.
That's dope.
So what I've done is I have digital copy of the novel. I have paperback copy of the novel. I have audiobook of the novel. And I have podcast access to his initial raw, rough
where he's reading it.
Adaptation or whatever. Yeah, of the initial release of just the audio before the book was even published. So I was a little confused at first because, again, I don't want to look up too much online, but I eventually had to just figure out exactly what I was listening and reading, because at first I was like, okay, is this true? Is it all actually true? I knew he was the author of American Psycho. He talks about being the author of American Psycho, but then the way he introduces the story is by basically giving a breakdown of what's kept him from writing this, because it's his true life experience, but that is actually just part of the story. So he really does integrate a lot of personal experience. However, the serial killer, the specific characters, the majority of the storyline is actually fiction. Okay. He's pulling
think.
No, for sure.
Okay.
But I did think for a long time. And I re-listened to the the prologue of the book.
Right.
Probably 3 or 4 times, not because I couldn't get through it or anything, but just because I was what am I listening to? The way it started, and I was on the podcast, I was like, wait, this can't be it. This sounds too raw.
Right.
This sounds too just him talking about an experience, but it's actually what's in the book.
So, I'm curious.
It's very immersive.
Well, I'm wondering, is he almost like an actor in that sense, where he like David Bowie, Ziggy Stardust, how he portrayed these different, yeah, absolutely. And actors do that. I mean, one of my favorite things of watching Jim act was I could see him as the character, not as my brother. But obviously, my brother was not Hamlet.
Right.
My brother was not Seymour from Little Shop of Horrors, Right. I mean, that probably
I
drew on a bit of
not.
experience.
Yeah. In case you're not watching, I gave a little, isn't he?
Amazing. But as a writer, right, because they say, especially things like this, thrillers, murders, that someone who actually suffers from psychosis is unaware that they have psychosis, right?
Right.
Truly. So, I mean, there's an awareness that he has, but it sounds like he's excellent at going into these thoughts.
And the character's name, the person that we're reading through their person, is Bret. So it's he's kept his own name. Again, I haven't gone and researched if there are actually real names of real people who were his friends, real names of the school, but he references Billionaire Boys Club. So now I'm did he write that? Is that a real thing? Because I've never seen the movie. Anyway, whatever. And he talks about him and his partner driving to Palm Springs and being reminded of something, and that's what leads him to write this finally.
What
and
a fun
it's
perspective.
Just really, it's, I feel, I mean, he's obviously written movies, so the description, like every street name in LA, every corner store,
Right.
all the venues.
So is it modern then?
It's from the 80s, so it takes place. He's writing from a modern perspective, like I believe 2020, but he is talking about an experience that happened around 81,
Wow.
82.
Cool.
Yeah, so
80s.
it's really cool too because he must love music. He's listing off, like as he's describing an experience, he's listing off the song that was playing in the background of
Very cool.
The Boys Garage or in
The Boys Garage?
well, it's A Boys Garage, Matt Haig. Shout out Matt, R.I.P. Oops. Spoiler. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not there yet, but it's foreshadowing. And so it's a lot of music is like, and you really, if you are wise in the music and you know what he's referencing, because I don't know every song, the ones I do know, I'm like I really feel the mood. Like I feel like it's really part of the description.
Cool.
This is relatively new too, so I wouldn't be surprised if at some point we do see the movie, which we've often kind of talked about, books into movies. Right. But I'm just really interested and really intrigued just by the style. So amazing writer. I feel like I'm watching a movie. It's just so descriptive, just location, scenery, everything, every room you're in. It's really, really descriptive.
Cool.
So that I love. And I mean, all of it so far I love. I haven't gotten to a really gory part yet. He's very descriptive in everything.
Well, I remember we were meeting at a coffee shop recently.
Oh.
And you pulled up in your car.
I should mention. If let's just say you haven't jumped on the train and you're not actually reading this, but you're considering it, it's explicit. There is a lot of, how should I put this? Let me think. There's a lot of there's sexual scenes that are described, and the character is a teenage boy.
Okay.
And he is in the closet. He does have a girlfriend, and now he's starting to explore his sexuality with peers, consensually on all parts so far. And I will just say, putting that out there, be prepared for that. Okay. So if you are uneasy, it's not the focus of the book, but so far I'm 4 chapters in, and there has been a pretty explicit scene.
Okay, so it's not like well, once again, you said American Psycho, so you're already thinking like rated R, right?
And that is just knowing that that's his thing, that's where your head needs to be, because we're right on par. Cool. We're right in line.
I'm there.
That's what to expect. So as long as like it doesn't bother you, that it's touchy when you're talking about something like this. And as an author, you can tell he's just an artist and a creative, and he isn't like held back. He's expressing it, and this is his art. But like, if you're touchy about something, these are 17-year-old boys, and they're participating in sexual acts. And guess what? There's going to be a lot more than that, because it's super disturbing what we know about the serial killer that the story is actually about. So I just, go into it with the frame of mind that it's jarring. Do
you know about any murders at the beginning? Is there like a prologue or anything like that? So
it's kind of like Satanic Panic era. We are just hearing about things that have happened. LA is just in a general sort of like woo kind of time. Yeah. Like freaky stuff is happening. Serial killers are on the loose.
And the AIDS pandemic.
And he does mention somebody passing away, and you kind of think, is that what that was? But I don't know for sure yet. But anyway, we know like what this serial killer's kind of like. You know how there's always a theme, not always, but you read about serial killers and there's kind of like a theme. Like this guy likes to tie people up. This guy likes to do this. This guy leaves his mark, his trademark, whatever. Mm-hmm. So this guy steals pets. But not just from the person he plans to abduct, but like a few people in their neighborhood. And then one of those people will end up either having like a home invasion and getting abducted or just like go missing like out and about in their daily
he
life.
doesn't hurt the pets, does he?
He does, but I don't know. We haven't gotten to it like exactly what he's doing, but we do know that he's doing something bad. And one really graphic part was a girl's fish went missing and they ended up finding the fish inside of the girl, and I won't say where. So it goes there. But he kind of just grazes over that. Like it's in a very matter-of-fact, like autopsy descriptive kind of way.
Ashley, I love how you're like, okay, let me just warn you, there's some, kind of explicit pornographic, gay sex between males, but it's consensual. And then it's like, there's missing animals and it's horrible and they're dying and they're being shoved up. I'm assuming.
You're right.
Oh, okay. We probably should have warned them about that.
Well, I didn't say where, you did. And again, he doesn't really like go into like gory detail about that. That is just like one of the things that they're just saying this is what has happened. Okay, so this is a crime.
Okay, so question. Is it portrayed where like American Psycho, you see it, you're like in his world? Do you know what I mean? Like when he's having these manic psychotic episodes. But this, it almost seems like you're reading about it.
So what, because I'm early in the book. So I just really love the way he's laid this out. It is like, so we're always hearing from Bret. We're hearing a lot about his like peer group, his girlfriend, his best friend, and his other best friend who happen to be a couple. So there's 2 girls, 2 boys, they're coupled up and they're also like all really close. And then we hear about like the lovers that he's kind of like experimenting with within the school as well. Secretively. Okay. And they're like they've got their subtle little cues and things. So nobody's like out, and they're all just kind of, they're in a very wealthy, like the most prestigious private high school. So they're all super rich. It's just this whole world you're in. And it's cool. One of the little portions is just describing, I'm talking with my hands. If you're not watching, you might want to.
Oh, sorry. I should be describing. So she's flailing her hands.
I'm flailing my hands. I'm doing the YMCA. So just one portion is talking about.
Was that? I like your choice.
Thank you. It was no accident. So one just part of his descriptive thing in setting the scene is he's talking about like the atmosphere in LA, and he's including like just different things that are going on with the satanic panic and things like that, and not having to do with this specific serial killer, just like crimes that are going on. And then he talks about like people who have gone missing and what you're reading in the news. Okay. And that's kind of where he includes the fish thing and the pets going missing. And he's also talking in like about something that he went through. So he knows what's going to happen, and he's leaving us little bits of like, okay, the pets went missing. Now in the next chapter, we find out the guy that he's experimenting with when he goes into the pool house to hang, his fish are gone and his cat is gone. So at that point in the story, he doesn't know that that's an omen, but looking back on the situation and living through this trauma, because he ends up, we don't know how or why or what, but it's the way that he's setting it up and foreshadowing is he either becomes like a lover with who we're supposed to think is the serial killer, but we're also learning that people around him and closest to him are probably going to be victims of the serial killer. So it seems like he's very close to whatever it is that's going to happen at the climax.
Or he is?
We
don't know.
Be.
I mean, that's fun.
Be.
That's fun writing where you don't know.
And he's actually pretty strongly setting it up in a certain way. So it could be that he ends up, because he is the author of American Psycho. So that could be a prediction.
Interesting.
But anyway, I mean, I've chatted a lot. I'm just so early in it and I'm really enjoying it. But it's just a whole, like, I'm feeling very immersed. Like, it's just, he must be just a really great writer.
Yeah.
And this is like a subject that I'm into. You know, murder and experimentation and all that. And the 80s. Oh, the drugs, you guys. He goes way in on like how high these guys are.
The shards, what does that mean?
So
Do you know yet?
I think it's just the shards. He's like he describes like some panic attack and some like midlife crisis and just the effect that this traumatic incident has happened. So I imagine it's just like the pieces of him that are left over from this hard thing that really affected him and has affected everything in his life.
I mean, I can't wait to find out what happens next.
Yeah.
How many pages are there in this one? Because you're about 100 in.
I'm 100. I mean, I might be like 98 in. And it looks like it's about 600 pages.
Oh, cool. I mean, it sounds kind of hard to put down.
I've been listening a lot too. So I did read the first, no, I didn't. I read the middle, like 2 or 3 chapters that I've gotten through so far.
Right.
But the first part I just was listening to, and it's him, whether I'm listening to podcast version or audiobook version. So I feel like that's really cool because he is giving it the way he wants it to be.
Yeah.
You know?
You hear his expression and like the mood and the tone of the characters.
And it's like these hottie.
Yeah, hotties. No, but like hottie.
HAUT or GT. Sorry. Okay, guys. You know what I'm trying to say here. Those guys. So you hear in his voice this like LA rich kid. That's what I should have said. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Like he's describing their school uniform.
Little arrogance in there.
They're wearing Armani and like he's got a wannabe surfer sort of tone sometimes. And it's really good.
Very cool. I love it. I'm excited. I know we're going to move on from that one.
Yes.
But any prediction?
Okay. So if you're following along,
or favorite character? Both.
You know, I'm really liking the main character just because we're so like in his head. I'm really liking, so he has a girlfriend he doesn't really care for, Debbie, and I don't really care for her either. But
sounds like a downer.
He's in love with the other couple who are his best male friend and the girl, but really he's closer to the girl and she kind of knows like the sexuality thing, I think.
Yeah.
But it's funny, like he likes them both until the new kid comes who like blows him out of the water, not literally. And we think that new kid is the serial killer. So long story short, I think that maybe
that could mean a couple things then.
Yeah. I think maybe the serial killer is the guy we think he's supposed to be, and I think maybe he kills all of Bret's friends.
Cool.
That's my prediction.
So you love Bret. We love Bret.
Yeah, we love Bret.
And the new guy is the killer.
And I think that the new guy is going to kill all Bret's friends, except for maybe Ryan, who's one of the secret lovers. And I really like Ryan.
Secret lovers.
Mm-hmm. He probably references
you heard it
that
here
song.
First.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, amazing.
So yeah, thanks for coming on that wild ride. I think I'm going to try to get through like a good portion for the next one because I think once things start rolling, it's going to go quick.
Okay, cool. I mean, it's honestly, I don't like the animal thing. I'm glad I'm not reading it. I don't like the animal thing. However, you want to take it to that next level of disturbia.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking Riri. And I'm not talking as in Rebecca Yarros.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking the queen, obviously. Some people might say B's the queen, but I love Rhiannon.
Yeah.
Rihanna's
Disturbia at
amazing.
the MTV Music Awards
Whips
in
and
like
Chains, baby.
2007 or 8 was amazing.
And she does all this charity stuff. She's great.
She makes lingerie and makeup.
I mean,
and she's a mom now.
I heard that. Good for her.
So there's a lot going on with her.
Good for her. Okay, I completely lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
Oh, the disturbia. The disturbance. That sets the creep factor.
Well, because I mean, teenagers getting killed, okay, but wait, everybody's pets are going missing?
Yeah, I don't like it.
No.
I know, because that hits you on a different level. I mean, people are important, but think about it. How many times do you see your dog, your cat, your fish versus other people that you know?
Times 100.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't like it.
They sleep with
and
you
they're
in bed.
vulnerable.
Yeah, and they're vulnerable.
And I think they're more vulnerable than teenagers. Teenagers are vulnerable. We talked about this with our last book.
Right.
But, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, well, cool. Way to go, Bret.
Yeah, thank you, Bret Easton Ellis.
Okay, so instead of doing shared, I'm going to talk about Freida.
Oh, I really want to hear about this.
Okay, I love this. I don't know who's reading it with me, but if you are a badass reading a badass. Freida McFadden, you girl, you amazing, beautiful little writer. I like to accentuate things by whispering.
Okay.
I don't know if you've noticed.
I am noticing.
Okay. I am very excited because when I started this, you had mentioned, Ashley, that you'd read her and she was good.
Yes.
Okay, she is so enjoyable that for me, I wanted to keep going. I was like, ooh, I'll just keep going. And then I thought, no, like stop at 150, stop halfway. But she does such a good job of getting you into the adventure that once you're in it, you just want to know the answers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
I do.
And the other thing that I love about Freida, way to go, is that she gives enough where you're trying to make predictions and you want to keep reading to see if your predictions are accurate.
Yeah.
And she gives you enough, like she already anticipates the direction. I mean, maybe she's good at leading you into a
Planting
specific
the seeds,
direction.
Mhm.
But once you're in that zone, that frame of mind, she'll give you a little, here you go. This is what you thought, so I'm going to give it to you. But but look over here because this is also kind of creepy. And I do really like how it's built. I'm kind of a skeptic. I'm a problem solver. I'm a puzzler. So as soon as I started reading it, I was like, but what if this is it? Or like, what's the ending? And, I don't like that about myself when I'm reading. It's kind of annoying. And now that I think about it, this is what we talk about. So I hope I'm not annoying anybody else. But it's such a quick read that it's not even something that I have to talk about. I don't even have to talk about predictions.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because maybe it's just going, like your brain is going a mile a minute, but then she's just like keeping you in there. Okay.
Yeah, she's feeding it. And there's like all these different pathways that she could take you. So let's get into what Ward D is.
Please.
Okay. So we have a couple med students and the main character, her name's Amy.
Okay.
And it's kind of cool because on the back it talks about how she confronts a hard, truth of her past or whatever.
Okay.
And so this is obviously in a mental institution. So you're thinking, well, what is in her past? But Freida does a very good job of just like explaining that right at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So there's almost this spiritual aspect to it. And if you investigate spirituality a little bit, or if you have an openness to different purposes of life and different soul experiences and things like that, you have this thought, okay, well, maybe she has a connection with the divine, not like godly, but like she is seeing a spirit. She's seeing a ghost, essentially.
Okay.
However, a lot of people who have seen ghosts or spirits have also, historically speaking, been cast in the light of being schizophrenic.
Right. Okay.
Right. So how do you know the difference between those two? I mean, there's obviously a diagnosis and there are certain symptoms and behaviors. But
sure.
I'm jumping ahead of myself. Amy.
Okay.
Med student.
Okay.
When you become a third year, you have to do these. You have to have nights in certain
different specialties, like residency
specialties.
type
Thank you.
thing?
I was thinking genres, but yeah, specialties.
Genres of medicine.
Yeah. Okay. So you have an ER rotation. Her rotation just happens to line up to be in the mental institution.
Ew, okay.
Apparently, that's something. I didn't think about that, but sure, it makes sense, right?
I mean, maybe more doctors should.
Yeah, the psychiatric ward. And she doesn't know why it's called Ward D yet. Like they kind of skim over that, which is kind of interesting.
Oh, so there's not like an A, B, and C.
Kind of like a little egg is planted. I'm not entirely sure.
Okay.
And then so it's set up. The doctor's really cute and funny, and probably early 40s, maybe late 30s.
A man or a woman?
A man.
Okay.
Who's in charge of the night shift. So here's the thing. It's not just a rotation in the ward. It's a night rotation.
Spooky.
Yeah. So she just like sets that element. She is under the assumption, Amy, that she is going to be on a rotation with this other girl that she knows, and her ex-boyfriend signs up to do the night with her.
Does he want her back?
Cam? Yeah.
Okay, Cam.
I'm pretty sure it's Cam because we've been reading about a lot of exes and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Cam.
Okay.
He's like football jock. He is like the sexy doctor.
I was going to say football jock Dr. Cam.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dr. Cam. I mean, honestly, he could check my temperature. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but he's also, he's this kind of burly guy, big guy, someone who like, and once again, Freida sets you up. He's this physical presence, so he should have no problem. right?
Like he can save us?
Like, I don't know. You kind of think like if stuff goes down, we're going to be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she's probably, even though he's an ex, maybe pretty comfortable with him because she knows him? Or
yeah, well, not very happy with him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was basically, he had to study for a test and was basically like, I can't be with you right now because I need to study for this test. And she was like, you're choosing a test over me.
I see.
Yeah. One of those situations.
Gotcha.
But at the same time, I don't know. That part is a little annoying, but it gives you that, okay, she wants distance from him. So that also sets you up for her ignoring him for a certain part of it.
Okay.
But he does go missing.
Oh, no. On the job.
On the job.
And
well,
okay.
But
okay.
it's more like, okay, so during the night, med students have been known to like, you can take a little rest. You could take a nap because you're there all
Exhausted.
night.
Sure,
and
sure.
you got a 24-hour
So
shift.
it's maybe against the rules, but you're okay to sneak some Z's? Or?
Well, it's not even against the rules. It's just kind of expected that you might.
Oh,
like
okay.
even the doctor on staff
okay.
is like, hey, go rest up. You're going to be okay.
Okay.
But the difference is Cam is confident going in and Amy is not. Amy does not want to be in the psychiatric. And because she has this fear that they're going to mistake her for a patient or she'll get locked in there or something is going to happen to her.
Okay. So she just has this feeling prior.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, part of her feeling, though, as you come to find out, is when she was younger, she had a best friend named Jade.
Okay.
And during these flashbacks, so you have these flashbacks, which are pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So you're getting, it's not just explained the past, like you are seeing the past through these like memories. Okay.
Okay.
And essentially, she was seeing this little girl. Like she saw this girl and her best friend knew that she was seeing this girl, imagining this girl.
Okay. Was she a kid then or just younger?
They were in high school.
Okay.
And so Jade, the friend, ends up going into into psychiatric care as a high schooler because we're still finding out the actual like moment that she does, but essentially she's bipolar. And Amy went to see her once. And when she went to see her, Jade basically said, I don't know why I'm in here. You should be the one in here.
Because Amy's the one who sees the little girl or saw the little girl.
Yes. So like I said, it's interesting because I've researched some spiritual things before and I love ghost stories and I believe in this extra presence and
sure.
And whatnot, which we could talk about later because I'm sure I'll read a book about it. But it's almost like, okay, well, she's seeing a ghost. That's normal. But when you have the, comparison of people with schizophrenia, then you kind of go, or she's seeing things and she's talking to people who aren't there.
Right.
So it kind of is like, it puts science to that.
Right.
And because she has to be in the psychiatric ward overnight, you're like, oh, like no wonder she has these fears.
Right.
But also, guess who is currently, even though she lost touch with her, at the psychiatric ward?
Jade is there.
Jade is there.
And Amy
creepy.
knows.
And Amy knows, but nobody knows
that they know each other.
That they know each other. And so far, she has refused to look because she has this moral code. So she is, and you're not supposed to look in files of people you know. And people HIPAA. Otherwise you can.
Okay.
Otherwise you can because you're doctors and you're trying to understand, diagnoses, symptoms.
Sure.
And their job throughout the night is to interview and get close to psychiatric patients.
Okay.
So she's trying to avoid Jade, but she also has this opportunity to look in her file and she refuses to. However, in her file, it would tell her why she's there.
Okay, but we still don't know, right?
We still don't know why she's there now.
And Jade knows that
but something's
Amy
up with
there?
Jade. Yeah.
Okay, but she knows.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. She's called her into her room and talked to her.
Something spooky's brewing?
She's a little spooky, yeah. And she even has commented on Cam and was like, he's not your type, but he's into you and all this kind of stuff, which is interesting. So she's and she's kind of that, when you watch these movies, and that's the other thing too, is it's very well described. Freida is great at her descriptive writing where you can picture everything. Like she sets the tone, she gives you kind of, the feeling of what's going on. And then you're in these characters and you get this tension with Amy. And then all of a sudden, like Amy feels something and it's because Jade's like, hey Jade, like she's, the jump scare.
Mm-hmm.
You have these like little jump scares.
Okay.
Which is pretty fun. But what I will say this is I wanted to keep going because right in the middle, one of the things that I started to predict because you get these other clips of these other patients.
Okay.
Right.
So we're learning a little bit about other
and the other disabilities or I mean mental illnesses. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That some of these people are going through. And this one guy has been self-admitted and his name is Will. So you get these other characters who are spending the night there, who live there, who are, that's their residence.
Okay.
Okay. So she's going into their world and then you start to learn about their world.
Okay.
And there's a lot of disturbing things going on, obviously, because
Sure.
a lot of these individuals are injured and disturbed.
Okay.
Yeah. And
it's co-ed.
Yeah. And there's like even this guy who ends up like the lights go out, lights go on, he's covered in blood. And she ends the chapter there. Come to find out he's not covered in blood. He's like he thinks he's Spider-Man and he's completely naked and has been saving jelly packets and has rubbed jelly all over himself.
Mm-hmm.
So
relatable.
it's like, yeah. I mean, who hasn't?
Are you reading this at all and being like, you're Amy and I'm Jade?
Oh my God. Actually, like there are moments where I'm like, oh, you're like everybody.
Oh. Was it the Spider-Man jelly? Or was it the self-admittance?
And I think how that happened was because somebody peed on the electrical socket because like in order for him to like web sling, like he thinks that it comes from urination. Anyways, like I said, you get to know these characters.
Sure.
So one of these characters is self-admitted because he has heard voices. Classic schizophrenia, what you know.
Will I get it?
To kill people.
Oh, okay. Don't quite.
Yeah. And so while Cam goes and interviews Spidey Dan.
Cute.
Okay. I know. Amy interviews Will.
Oh, no.
The classic, like, murdering schizophrenic.
Oh, no.
Who seems really normal. Reads her favorite books, like is
They
kind
all
of
seem
nerdy, hot, is telling her and reassuring her.
Unnaturally charming, would you say?
Yes.
Okay.
Comes in when she's disagreeing with Cam, starts playing the piano and gets Cam to leave, basically helps Amy out. And they're talking about their favorite books. And you're like, okay. And even Amy says what you're thinking, right? Which is...
She is in...
He says that because she's smart.
Right.
She's not a dumb character.
I mean, she's there to be a doctor.
And I like that about Freida. She doesn't make Amy dumb.
Okay.
She might do a couple dumb things to me, but she's not
totally.
She's not dumb. She's actually on guard the whole time, which I appreciate. Because
makes sense.
So like you are feeling this way too.
Yeah.
And so, forget about Jade for a moment because here you are with Will and you're like, even Amy has this moment where she thinks maybe he didn't really stop hearing those voices. He's just saying that.
Oh, okay. So he's okay. I see. Okay.
So we're at a place in the story. Cam's, not just sleeping because Amy can't find Cam. The lights had gone off. The generator did, come back on. But Amy goes into Will's room to borrow a different book of her favorite author.
I mean, these are like very close patient-doctor relationships.
Yeah, I think so too. but it's just a psychiatric ward. It's not, do you know what I mean? It's not jail.
You know what? I've actually been in an institution and not a psychiatric one, but a different kind. And now that I'm thinking about it, the people who are there to sort of counsel you. And you do want to build those personal relationships. So that does make sense.
But the doctors can't give personal information. There's a list of things that you're not allowed to bring in with you.
Sure.
Okay. And so she takes this book. She opens the book.
Uh-oh.
While Will's in the bathroom.
Oh, no.
And it's hollowed out.
Oh, no.
And what do you think's inside that hollowed out book, Ashley?
Weapons.
all the meds that he was supposed to be taking so that he would stop hearing the voices to kill people.
Cam.
And he's we don't know where Cam is, but we know that Will has been lying.
Oh no. And he wanted maybe her to find that out because it's her book?
Well, it's not her book, but
Oh.
it's one of her favorite authors.
Oh, okay.
I don't think he wanted people to know about that.
Okay.
She just went in there to borrow a book to stay distracted, because she couldn't fall asleep.
Okay.
Like it's kind of innocent, to be honest, but he's in the bathroom and it's like something's up with Will, and Will had whispered something to Jade and they were giggling, and now we don't know where Cam is. And Mary, old lady Mary, who knits, click, 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 click. Like she also sets like kind of, you can kind of feel and hear the sounds with how she describes things, kind of similar, it seems, to Bret,
Yep.
And Mary is supposed to be having knitting needles that are like
Safe.
right? She's always knitting. Well, she goes talks to Mary, and I highlighted this page because I thought it was really funny. So Amy's talking to Mary, finds out that I'm going to read. Can I read?
Please. Can you?
Don't you want to live? Sorry. A little bit today. Don't you want to live for your family? My husband died 10 years ago. That's how I imagine Mary.
Okay.
She goes back to her knitting, the needles tapping together once again. Click, click, click. Harvey and I never had any children. The only family I've got left is my sister, and she's an old battle axe. What did Harvey die from? I ask. Why? She narrows her eyes. Do you think that I killed him? Okay.
Yeah, now.
So, right? That's what you think. At first, I think she must be joking, but there's an edge to her voice that makes me think she's not. Of course not, I say. Because I didn't, she frowns. People fall down the stairs, all the time.
I like her.
I thought you'd like her too. I'm sure. And I loved him. She tugs some of the yarn from the ball on her lap. Even though he used to see other women, I still loved him. I would never have killed him. Okay, now I'm starting to think that Mary definitely killed her husband. Right? So she gives, Amy's not dumb.
Right.
And she's actually she's humanizing these people. She's having these conversations. She's making them feel heard. Like you get this sense that Amy's a good egg, and she wants to do right by these people. But yeah. So you get these characters, and these characters aren't just characters. They're people who obviously have gone through something and unique experiences due to their mental
Issues.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I don't even know how to talk about that,
Yeah.
But Mary and other residents start talking about how they think that they're going to die tonight.
Oh.
Like all these residents they're trying to escape. They want to get out because they think they're going to die.
Oh.
And part of the reason why they think they're going to die is this other character who we haven't seen, who we still haven't spoken about, who is the only one who is in isolation, and his name is Sawyer, and he's a very bad person who's done something very dangerous that we don't know about.
Okay. I like it.
And the electricity went out.
Oh, no.
And the isolation part of the ward has gotten very quiet. And Cam's missing.
And Will's in the bathroom.
We think. What's Will doing?
Will admitted himself, obviously, because his best friend Sawyer, who he wants to kill people with, needs to get out of there.
We don't know. We don't know. And Jade is a whole nother level. And this is something that was briefly looked over, when Amy and Cam were being told the code, that's when Amy first felt this presence of these eyes watching her, and it was Jade.
Okay.
So even though Cam and Amy are supposed to be the only people other than the doctor and the night nurse that know the code,
Jade might be privy.
Yeah.
Was there ever a moment
So
where...
a breakfast club of insane people.
I like this. I mean, I know I would love it. Was there ever a moment when Amy was like, hey, should I tell the doctor I know Jade? And
Okay.
she just was like, didn't
She's
want
thought
to.
about it, but doesn't want that to happen
Okay.
yet because
Because then Jade's going to be like, oh, by the way, did you know Amy's crazy?
exactly.
Okay.
So that keeps being played against her, and she hasn't seen the little girl in a while. But we don't even know what this little girl situation is.
Okay. So, but we just know that it makes her, she puts her in this position of
Yeah.
like, we don't know where Amy's head's
Yeah,
really
but
at.
in these flashbacks, you do know that she has experienced that. So then you also here's the prediction time. You also go to this place as the reader where you're like, well, is Amy just a med student?
Well, like Shelter Island.
Exactly.
Okay.
Shelter or Shutter?
Shelter Island
Leo?
is something else.
I was like,
Thank you. Shutter
Is it?
Island.
okay, but
Yeah.
what's hilarious is when we were talking about the Midnight Library, I said Miracle on 34th Street last week. I don't know if anybody caught that, but it's
I
not
love that
about
movie.
it's not about Santa Claus. I think I meant It's
You
a
meant-
Wonderful Life.
Okay, I was literally picturing It's a Wonderful Life, so I didn't correct you. I'm very well
So
versed in
good.
both of those.
Because I was just wondering if anybody was thinking of Santa Claus while reading the Midnight
No,
Library.
I was totally thinking It's a Wonderful Life, but yeah.
Okay, but Shutter Island, creepy, right?
Yeah,
and then
great movie.
great movie.
And then the twist. So
then
that's
the
what I'm
twist.
picturing the whole time.
Okay, so my experience with other epic stories, like you can't help but go there, but also there's so much where it's like doctor based and you have Cam, so you're in this reality. You just can't help being a little mental yourself while on this adventure because
Which is great writing.
It is. It's so, I mean, to me, it's fun. I don't want to overplay it for you guys, but like I said, easy read. Like you're in this place. It all takes place in a night, even though you have these flashbacks. So you want to know more about that, but something's happening, and you do build it up because like if everybody thinks they're dying tonight, like you think you're like who's dying,
Right. And
who's
why
dead?
and who's doing it?
Yeah.
Sawyer or whoever,
Yeah.
Amy. Okay. And so D, we don't know why it's D, but
We don't know
death,
yet.
demon, devil.
We don't know.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know yet.
Okay.
I had a couple thoughts, but I forgot them already.
Okay.
Because it's such a contrast, and it's kind of fun to have the
Yeah.
two different stories going on.
Yeah.
And I might be wrong. Spidey Dan does do the urination thing, but I think it was this other guy. I want to say
With the
character with the jelly
Okay.
because someone believes that God's his father and is telling him he has to leave tonight because he's going to die. So that's set kind of early in your mind, but you're just kind of like you're just dismissive. You're like between being dismissive and going, "What's going on?"
Interesting.
fun. Like,
and
I
it's
think
like
you-
all adding up, and these clues are just like,
I think you'd like it.
oh, I would definitely like it.
Yeah.
And with my experience with Freida, like I haven't read a page, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's not Shutter Island-esque, if Amy really is a resident and she really is, on that path, and then just something ends up snapping at the end, and like there is going to be a twist, but like it might not just be that she's delusional, because Freida, usually she treats her main characters a little bit with more respect than that,
Cool.
Not that could still happen, but something's going to go
Okay,
down,
yeah, I mean,
for sure.
And how fun for an author to like choose this setting, knowing very well that like you can have fun with it.
Yeah.
The characters you could build, the danger that actually could exist, but also the danger that shouldn't exist because they're just people,
Yeah.
right? And Will's not really supposed to be dangerous if the world's doing their job because like, but he's been hiding his pills.
Oh, it sounds really good.
Oh, right. Did I say Mary gave her a needle?
Oh, no.
So that's the thing too, is you're set up with Amy. Mary's like basically given some sort of defense to Amy. So
Like,
you're kind of like,
protect
way to go,
yourself, we're all
Mary,
dying
with
tonight?
one needle. Yeah, one of these like
safety needles.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Mary seems really nice that she would give. I mean, I have two and you can have one.
And she probably killed her husband. Isn't that fun?
Well, he probably did something. I mean, he did.
He-
Philanderer.
Right? Justice. No, no, I do not mean that at all.
We're joking.
But I did think about you, actually. I mean, basically, if there is a saucy character, that's when I think about you. I'm like,
Totes. And I would
Aw.
give half of my needles.
Well, apparently it was an extra one. She's got a lot. But that's what
okay.
she does say, though. She's like, she says something to the extent of like, I hate knitting.
But
And,
like-
and Amy's like, but like you're making this scarf and you're knitting all the time. She was like, yeah, so I can have these.
Okay,
So
it's
Mary's
me. It is me.
smart.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
Mary's like, she's a smart broad, okay? I like Mary.
Okay. I like Mary too.
Yeah.
I hope Mary makes it out of all this.
I hope she's the winner with those needles.
Yeah, well, she really seems like the only one who's Team Amy right now. So
Right? I mean, Cam says that he was, but I don't know.
well, Cam's gone. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he's the Scream boyfriend who obviously dies.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
All right, so we're gonna close that. I was gonna say jail sale. No, we're gonna lock that. We're gonna lock down
Yeah.
Ward D, and
Okay.
it's going to be done by probably tomorrow.
Nice.
I just want
You need to know.
I
Totally.
need to know. I need
Totally.
to know.
Totally.
Thank you, Freida. All right. So there's that. Any questions?
No, I have no questions.
How are we doing on time, everybody?
I mean, we got your predictions. Both of these books sound really great.
And I was like, no prediction.
I'm
I love it.
happy. I'm happy.
Me
No,
too.
I'm happy. I'm
I
just
feel
happy.
like I feel like mine is like PG-13 and yours is like
X
which is great.
in a good way.
It's a good range for us.
Yeah.
And now we're getting to, well, it's kind of heavy.
This is heavy. This is also 13. I mean, this is PG like 20.
Yeah,
but
probably.
for other reasons.
Yeah, I think so too. And Ashley's talking about the Midnight Library because we're holding it up and she's pointing to it. And so if you're watching, you see this. But if you're listening, you're like, what?
Matt Haig,
How
the
is
Midnight
there
Library.
ADD? Yeah, Matt Haig, the Midnight Library. And then I think I told you he wrote The Boy Called Christmas or Named Christmas.
You did mention that.
Yeah.
Which is a kid's book.
Yes, but he, when I did a little bit of reading and about him, I went to his website,
Okay.
and very interesting. In his 20s, he had something traumatic and big happen, and I almost think that it has to do with his perspective of life, and it could have been a depression. I don't want to speak for you, but basically this man has been on a journey and it got him to writing books. And one of his first books was about like the reasons why you're here or something like that. I recommend going to his website so that you would know. Obviously, I'm not speaking his facts for him, but he's coming from a place of understanding of being in depression, and I think questioning life,
Okay.
which I believe is definitely carried into this book.
Oh, yeah. That's it. That's what we're reading about.
It's kind of beautifully written, though.
It is. It is. I would say I read the first 8 pages and I was like, okay, this is so quippy because the tone, we're like
Yeah.
UK and it's like,
Oh, right.
jolly
Yeah,
good
we
time,
are in
even
the
though-
UK, guys. Even though
Oh,
I was
yeah,
like,
by
don't
the
worry,
way.
don't worry, Ashley, we're not in the UK. And
well,
then
I
it starts
wasn't
off and
worried
they're in
because
London.
I love reading in the UK.
You're welcome.
But I'm like, yeah, it's even like kind of like jokey pokey fun when the cat dies. And then I actually started reading it and I'm listening quite a bit. And I don't know, I like the voice in the audiobook, but I almost feel like it's just telling the sort of sad story. So it might be a little bit more depressing because when I was reading the words, that's not like the tone I was having.
So interesting you say that because when I read it, it's matter of fact. Like, I
Right.
feel like the main character, and please remind me of her name because I was just in Amy's head.
Nora Seed.
Nora, thank you. Nora Seed, we're in her head.
Mhm.
And she doesn't seem sad. Like, you get the emotion of sadness, but she's very much resolved.
Right. Yeah. And yes, I would say she's very, like you said, matter of fact. She's very like, this is kind of how I'm feeling or lack of feeling. Like
Right.
she is kind of like a void. She's sort of numb. So numbness is not sadness.
Kind of like a
It's
black
just
hole.
indifference.
Indifference. That's very well put. And, I think that, like I said, someone who's writing perhaps from a place of experience and or if you have ever suffered a Great Depression, I'll just be vulnerable and I think being honest, especially on a podcast, is important because you are connecting with other people. And this is about the human experience. And I love this story because it's about a human experience that many people can have. I think when you get to a point in a depression where you are contemplating no longer participating in this life,
Sure.
it's more of because you don't want to hurt people that you've cared about, or you feel like this life no longer has its purpose.
Right.
And, you know, I've been in a dark place before where I've thought about that.
Sure. I think that's individually it's different, but just the overall concept, I think it's very common.
Yeah, I do too. And I think, you know, our society is doing a pretty good job about talking about mental health right now.
Sure.
And that's why I have no problem really sharing this. I mean, obviously, if my parents listen to this, they might be a little surprised, and other people can have feelings about that. And especially, I think when you care about someone, you never want them to feel that way.
Right.
Because life is such a gift.
Yes.
And I think what's beautiful about Matt Haig is I get the sense that he understands that. And that's part of why he wrote this book. So even though there's some tragic, sad, sorrowful pieces, I don't see the main character, Nora, as necessarily being sad. You might feel sad for her.
Right.
But she is very matter of fact. And she's just like, no, I'm just done.
Yeah. And it was like, when I'm listening to her describe this, like simply envious of her dead cat. I don't want to be here anymore. This life isn't serving me. I'm not serving it.
Right.
It's not about anybody else. I just maybe I'm just bad at this and I'm ready to stop participating. I even was thinking to myself, like, this is not my flavor personally of depression. Like my flavor of depression is a little bit more emotional.
Right.
But the way that, you know, it was described, it's still relatable in a sense, but like you just really capture like how that character is feeling or lack thereof, really.
Right. And I think, you know, there are different medications that people are encouraged to take. And there's warning signs also about people becoming apathetic towards life because of taking certain medications for any number of reasons, you know? And I think it's because that apathy can lead to, well, why exist at all then?
Right.
And it's not seen as depression, and people who are in that don't see themselves as depressed because there isn't emotion, but the lack of emotion is really what is lacking in life, right? And, you know, this is a very sensitive topic, and, you know, if it's hard for you to talk about it or listen to it, then I completely understand. You don't have to listen to this part of the pod. But I'm kind of glad we are talking about it and that we're shining a little bit of a light on it, and that Matt did so because, you know, there's always that darkness or just those moments of like maybe not feeling. However, I truly believe in life. I truly believe and the story kind of is pushing you in that way about choice, that there is so much to be lived.
Yeah.
Even when you don't feel that, even when you don't think that, like you might not be feeling now, but doesn't mean you won't be feeling later. And
it's temporary.
And there are other people who are impacted by those choices. And I'll be honest, like the reason why I never saw through an act of self-harm was because I'll never forget when I was younger, my mom told me, she was like, don't you ever do that. It would kill me.
Right.
And like, thank goodness I had someone there to do that. And so if anything, I'm hoping that we can, you know, just share that as well. Like if you are at that point, like, please like find something or let something find you, because like, it is worth it, you know, and you might not think that it's going to impact the world, but it does. And I get that sense with this book too. So this is also a really, I think, good book for anybody who's thought about it or who might be in a depression, to be honest. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, when I think about somebody, okay, there's different situations. I'm going to just talk broadly.
Okay.
But like if you... And I'm not talking.
And we're not doctors.
I'm not talking to. We're not doctors. And I'm not talking to the person who's ready to take their life. Like but I'm just saying, hypothetically, like as I'm reading this book, these are my thoughts. Hypothetically, when you're at a point where it's just like, I'd rather just not even be here, not to be the toxic, optimistic person, because I'm really not. I'm actually more naturally a pessimist. But it's just like, that's kind of like a point of like, change and rebirth. Like if you don't want to be here so bad, and this is what I'm thinking as I'm reading the book.
Yes.
Like, and it's perfect because this is what's going on with Nora. Like if you really just want out of that life, like guess what? As far as we know, without getting like metaphysical and everything, you do get one life. And like, if you really have nothing to lose, then you can really do whatever you want. So like, you can kind of just like experience life to the fullest.
Yeah, I mean, love that.
And that's just like a really idealistic way of thinking about it. There are people in situations who don't have options for
and need help.
What I'm talking about,
and medicine can help some people.
I'm just talking about like as far as the book goes, and how Matt has like decided to take the route and talk about this subject. It's like a really fun way of being like, imagine like if you just decided you wanted to be a different person, kind of. You know what I mean? It's just really interesting. I think so too. I'm liking the way that he's bringing the conversation up.
Yeah, it's not telling you don't do it.
Right.
It's
in fact, it kind of she does. She overdoses.
Yeah, she does, and that's what brings her to the library.
Yeah,
she's in the in between,
mm-hmm.
and that's kind of cool too.
Yeah.
And the whole concept is, basically, the Book of Regrets, which is deep.
Yes, and she don't like that.
Okay,
Neither
but
do I.
I would say that's the emotional aspect of her depression.
Right.
Like that she got to the point of apathy because she believed that all of her regrets were what brought her to that apathy.
And it was very overwhelming because all she could see was all of the regrets.
All of the failure.
And she couldn't see that light at the end of the tunnel. She couldn't see that there are options for her to reinvent herself or start something new or,
Right. And the lessons that you start to learn, which are because it's so beautifully written, to me, the lessons that you start to learn are those regrets. Like when she starts to experience the life had she made a different choice where she did regret, the regret is then removed because she realizes it was nothing that she had to regret to begin with.
Right.
And I think that is what's so healing because as I'm reading it, I think everybody thinks about, they try to relate to characters or they relate their own experiences. And maybe you haven't been to this point, which is great, but you still will go to the point where people have regrets.
Totally. You make choices every day. Some are bigger than others, but I would be shocked if there was people who weren't like, well, even what if I, took this job instead of this job or
exactly.
Choice. Just so many choices. Right.
Yeah. And I think that's what's such a cool perspective is she gets the opportunity to then see these choices.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because one of the choices, like she felt with Volts, the cat, one of her greatest regrets towards the end, which makes her like
puts her over the edge.
To be honest, it puts her over the edge.
It's one of like the
bringing
big ones.
Bringing it back to animals. Just saying.
Yeah.
Way to go, Bret. No, is the cat's dead, and she had been absent-minded, and it had gone out, and she thought that it was her fault.
She thought she was a bad pet owner.
Yeah, but in every life, he was going to die at some point
because of his heart condition.
Yeah. And there's even other parallel realities where had she made different choices, she would be dead too.
Yeah. And then her father gets to live. All these different scenarios. Yeah. I just really like how it feels anyways like there is going to be a little bit of resolution because she is able to erase these regrets as she goes down each of these paths. It's a very like nice sort of package that we might get wrapped up. And I have a feeling that hopefully she will find a life where she isn't disappointed and maybe she'll get to continue on.
Yeah.
And that'll be a nice little happy ending because I'm not going to lie, it is kind of like depressing.
Yeah. It's not like the happiest things that, you're going through somebody's regrets.
Yeah. But it's lessening up and we've only been into a couple different books of life.
Right.
So.
And her mindset's changing.
It is. And obviously Mrs. Elm, the librarian whose form is Mrs. Elm.
Yeah.
Cool. Is, teaching her something and guiding her through this. And there were a couple moments there where I was like, okay, Mrs. Elm, I'm getting frustrated with you just as Nora is getting frustrated with you.
Yeah. And like, I don't think, when you say that too, like how it's lessening in those aspects and like you're hoping there's some resolution. I feel that Matt is doing such a good job where it isn't Miracle on 34th Street. No, it's not just It's a Wonderful Life where it's easy, right? Like you see that life could be better and then it's going to be better. I don't get the sense that he's going to do that to you. It's instead it's like
she's changing her perspective.
Right. And just because she's changing her perspective doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to have that happy ending.
Well,
like the happy ending is evolved differently. It's almost like he could have done the classic, right? But I feel that Matt said, no, I'm going to do it better.
Yeah, I agree. I think that she's going to find a life that she's less disappointed in, but I think it's because she's going to be a different person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's going to be what we need to take away.
And it circles straight back to your initial point.
Which was?
Remind me. That you get to reinvent yourself.
Oh, right.
When you hit those points, it's not about, and I don't want to say giving up or failure, because that's not what she feels necessarily. I mean, you get this perspective of failure, but it's not even her giving up. It's her just
It's like
done.
A failure to launch. Like
exactly.
She's just sort of stunted. And I mean, don't get me wrong. She has trauma. Her parents have both passed away, and one at a very young age. She was, different things have molded her, like her experience with this swimming competitively.
Like she feels that she's the reason why she's stuck. And like I said, to your point, I think it's about how you get back up.
Right.
And it's not even how you get back up, it's that you get to.
And you do.
And it's just a choice. And whatever choice you make, as long as you're choosing,
then it's the right one.
It's the right one.
That's beautiful. We should have written this book.
Oh my God.
Just kidding, Matt. Love your work.
Matt. Love your work. Don't disappoint us.
Yeah, seriously.
We're only 100 in.
No, that's 105. True. But I'm liking it. Overall, it's different from something that I would read just like on my own because no one's getting, I was about to say no one's getting killed. She killed herself. No one's getting killed.
So, and that's why it's like rated extra.
Yeah.
Rated extra because, she does commit suicide. She tries.
But it's very light.
And it says fucking shit.
Oh. It does?
Mm-hmm.
When did it say that? I believe you.
Yeah. So, there's that.
Yeah. But overall, I'm liking it. It's like a nice juxtaposition from Murder in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, I don't know. I feel
does it have you thinking about anything that you thought you regretted or been at a stagnant point in your life?
I often think about like, what if I would have done this or what if I would have done that? But usually because... Well, I think we can have both of our experience of someone who in a young age felt like there was a lot of potential for something specific, even if we didn't know what that specific thing was. Just the idea of having a lot of potential.
Right.
And I've always kind of felt really comfortable with the idea of being a person who had a lot of potential and didn't act on it because then maybe there's like a lack of like disappointment.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like that kind of theme I'm kind of feeling with the reading.
Yeah.
When I think about like what ifs, luckily I've had a lot of traumatic life experience and been down some dark alleys. So
makes you a rich person though.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, so my what ifs are more like, well, what if I was dead? I'm better off on the choices that I've made to get to where I am because I'm fairly happy. You know?
Yeah.
So, yes, definitely I think about different choices, but I'm pretty, I don't know, I'm pretty content. So it's like nice to think about like maybe I've made some good ones.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I know obviously my life is better for it. I still think you could be president.
It's not too late. It's getting
Well,
more and more likely as each day passes.
I do. Okay.
Not to get political.
Okay. I do. I'd vote for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And how about you? How are you resonating with these like choices?
I just like the fact that what you think could have been a different choice and that you think would be a lesser regret.
Your cat's still dead.
Yeah, your cat's still dead. Let's just put it that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That I think, it's this whole thought about our concept about control, right? Because within a regret, what you're really thinking is that you have control. That had you done a different choice, it would have had the desired outcome. And there was actually a quote.
That's a really good point, and that seems to be like what he's getting at too.
And I'm really, really happy actually that this is being brought to my mind because I think I highlighted a specific Nora rethought. There was a quote. There was something about feeling. Oh, this one was about the chessboard, and because Miss Elm's talking about feeling. So that's the regret part, but it's the point where it actually talks about. What were we talking about?
If like you were just basically like the outcome, you think your choice is so important and like maybe you made a mistake by making the wrong one, right?
Right.
But where you end up is where you end up kind of regardless. And I don't know what maybe you were going to talk about. Mrs. Elm does mention that she starts to kind of like make like the life she's picking are going to have a more profound effect maybe on where her head's at.
Yeah, I found it.
Okay.
I found it.
Good,
Thank
because
you
I was
so
just
much.
guessing.
Okay. And if you want, I could totally just like cut straight to
Do
it.
that.
Okay. All right. So here she is with Mrs. Ohm, and it's about the Book of Regrets. And Nora goes, I don't want to open it again. And Mrs. Ohm says, don't worry, it will be safer this time. Just stick to the last page. Once she had flicked to the last page, she saw one of her very last regrets. I was bad at looking after Voltaire. Slowly disappear from the page, the letters fading like retreating strangers in a fog. I mean, that's eloquent. That's beautiful.
Very nice, yeah.
Nora closed the book before she could feel anything bad happen. So you see, sometimes regrets aren't based on fact at all. Sometimes regrets are just, she searched for the appropriate term and found it. A load of bullshit.
Oh, and there's shit.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, yeah. So there's the language part, but that's the whole point, right?
Right.
Facts aren't feelings, like,
right.
or feelings aren't facts.
Yeah.
It's the same thing about regret, right? Like you have regrets aren't based on fact at all. It's just what you think. And there was another part that was talking about want. And that wanting is lacking.
Right.
That was the other one I was trying to find. There's a part specifically where there's some philosophical, things that are thrown at you in this.
Right.
And I think that's what I enjoy about it is it gives you a moment to ponder, and they're very deep and they're very insightful. And that thought of when you want something, it's because you lack something.
Right.
Right?
Right. And it kind of is just like grass is always greener, or gratitude for what you've got. Like if you're not feeling that want of comparing or thinking like you should have something that you don't, or you should be at a place in life where you're not, if that's not your mindset, then that doesn't even exist.
Exactly. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. Okay. Okay. But I do like, though, how you can go into books and see how things would turn out differently. So I wanted to ask you this one question.
Okay.
I want you to go back to high school or college. You choose.
Okay.
High school or college.
I'll try to
One
remember.
specific choice that you made, and had you made it differently, where you think it actually would have gone. Not where you wanted it to go, but where you think it would have actually have gone.
Okay.
This is, I like the what if. I can't help it.
And I'm not going to make it too crazy. I'm just going to think of the first thing that comes to my mind is like, what if I wouldn't have gone to the college I went to and I went to the other one? And honestly, I think it would have been worse.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it would have seemed on paper like it would have been better, but I think I wouldn't have been able to hack it, and I think it would have been super overwhelming. And everybody at that time was asking me, why the heck would you go to this one when you can go to that one? And I think I made the right choice by not going to that one, because my gut tells me I would have it would have been bad.
So then would you say that you're like resolved in that you do have the perspective that everything that happened, regardless of ups and downs, trauma, like it brought you to where you are and you're okay with that?
For the most part, yeah.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Do you have one of those?
Oh, absolutely.
That just the first one, or,
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, drumming's been my life. But honestly, it was just given to me. Like drumming has been in me and a part of me. And I was burnt out in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I was just done with academics. Like I wanted no part of it. I felt like I was being used. And I thought the only thing that was really keeping me happy was drumming. And so my mom and we toured SC. And then we toured Musicians Institute, not MIT, not technology. You guys, I'm not that smart, but thank you if you thought I could be. So the Musicians Institute.
We did.
Thank you. Thanks, Ashley. Musicians Institute, where, you don't get a college degree, but you have the potential to be a work for hire drummer. Like you focus primarily on, your craft, and USC was a different feel. Absolutely. And fortunately they had a music program, but I didn't find USC. My mom did. She was like, here's a music program. You might like this. It's music industry. You like business. And sometimes I wonder, what would it have been if I had chosen just the craft?
Right.
Just the craft, because I also ended up having my car accident when I was a senior in college.
Right.
And I almost lost that.
Right.
And when I almost lost it, that's when I was like, how could I live without it?
Yeah.
And I almost felt like choosing USC over it was choosing a different path away from performance. And my mind likes to take me back to that point.
Yeah.
However, I do love my life. I still get to drum. Like I've seen the outcome of other people who have the road life or choose the road life, or, and I'm glad that wasn't me, like I think, and even with the hardships and sorrows and things that brought me to where I am, like I loved USC, and it made me love learning again. Like I took some great courses. The professors were outstanding. The music school was phenomenal. And I learned huge life lessons that would have, and this is what this book is really good with, would have been different life lessons with a different path. You don't have to go, they're better. Like
right,
I think that's the whole point. It's not about comparing. They just would have been different.
Yeah.
But I'm happy with where I've been and what I've learned. Do you know what I mean?
As I'm hearing you and I'm thinking about like the choices that I was talking about and then other choices since then, all roads lead to podcast. Presidency, rock star.
I 100% agree. 100% agree.
It's like,
this is my favorite life.
yeah, I think all roads lead
This is
us
my
to
favorite
this
life.
last book on the bookshelf
And
of the Midnight Library.
And all of you who are listening, this led us to you.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And these
authors,
authors, like,
we're
they're fun.
supposed to be.
100%. Honestly, when we were swimming with the kids last night, I was thinking that too. I was like, that's so freaking fun.
I think if anybody was sitting in an English class with us in high school, all roads lead to you and I talking nonstop into a microphone.
With a massive audience.
And so with that being said, thanks for another great episode.
Okay, but we did get peppermint tea. Why?
Oh, because that's where we left off. The chapter, Peppermint Tea.
We got deep tonight.
And I think we can probably finish the rest.
We got dark,
wow.
deep,
Death,
and tea. And a little peppermint tea.
Shards. Not the other.
I can't even.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All roads lead to pod.
Okay.
All right. I think that is it. That's all.
That's it.
We hope you enjoyed and had a great time reflecting with us.
Yes, thank you.
And don't forget, 2020 something, vote for Ashley for president.
2030 something.
Yeah. We gotta give it some time.
Yeah. The 4 years go by quick. Okay.
Very quick. Bye.
Bye.